Hi everyone, it's your boy Buck says, and yeah, it's a very interesting start to the season. Not so much for Arsenal fans, and so I just want to go into why I think that Arsenal are pretty much the biggest disgraces in the Premier League. I mean, they easily take the disgrace of the weekend this week. Um, and I've been an Arsenal fan for 20 years. Fell in love with the club when Ian Wright played there. He was my first ever favourite player. And obviously, when Henry came and lit up the Premier League, it was just amazing to watch. There is there's no real words for how poor Arsenal have been. I think the headline for me is actually Arsenal are quite possibly not just the worst run football club in the world, well, maybe apart from Barcelona, but they are probably one of the worst run businesses in the world. They're trading off goodwill from fans such as myself, who have had 20 years of great memories, obviously supporting this club, and now we've had a really pretty shitty 10 years. And I think a lot of it comes down to this. We had Arsene Wenger, probably one of the best managers ever. 3 Premier League titles, however many FA Cups. I've lost count. I think he won maybe 6 or 7 actually. And he was a great manager. But what I like to say about Arsene Wenger is that the first 10 years of his reign were much like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The second 10 years were kind of like The Hobbit. And I think really his last few years have set us back enormously. I think he knew that he was an analog manager in a digital age. I don't think he quite could get past his obsession with diminutive players in an era where the Premier League became more physical, more aggressive. You look at teams like City, you look at teams like Chelsea, very physical. Kante kind of breaks that mold, being quite diminutive, but you look at their teams and I think they have some of the tallest teams in the league, some of the most physical teams in the league, and their aggressive play style is very direct. There's no real flair. Trying to emulate Barca was a difficult ask, especially when you don't have the personnel to do so. I think, if we start from a top-down approach, if we start from really where the problems start, I think Arsene Wenger was the biggest man at that club for about 13 years or so. And what he managed to do was obviously downright amazing. I think where the problems started to happen was when he moved to the new stadium. The new stadium was obviously a big crutch in terms of the affordability. And, I think it's really just is a moot point. It's an excuse. It's an excuse-driven culture. I think what's happened with Arsenal is from top down, forgetting the owners, forgetting the managers, forgetting the previous personnel, or even the players that have played for the club. I think the big issue right now is the fact that the culture of the club, the culture from top to bottom, is a disgrace. Now, there's lots of companies in the world who show that culture actually matters. That word, it can sometimes be seen as a buzzword, but it's really not. What it is it's sometimes how you set the tone for winning, and we haven't set that tone for winning. What we've set the tone for is acceptability of mediocrity, acceptability of going through the motions and going through the paces. And I think what it is it's comfort. It's comfort. We have kind of the husband of an heiress. I don't even want to say his name. The husband of an heiress who's using our club as a piggy bank, a vanity project. But I don't even think the buck stops with him, really. I just don't think he has an understanding of football. You look at some of these other owners, Venkatesh, the Leicester owners. You look at some of the City owners. You're not going to compete with really countries. You're not. You're not going to. And I don't think anyone has a divine, God-given right to win league titles or win Champions Leagues. I'm not really asking for a guarantee that we're going to out City because they have an unbelievable squad, they have an unbelievable balance. Do I think I think we're going to end up finishing below top 10. Do I think we're the 10th worst squad? No, I don't. I think we have the personnel. I think we have the personnel to actually do something. Maybe not get even top 4, but to be competitive. I think it's quite dour. I think, if you look at the way we play, just the way we play, the style, it's people have spoken about 1-0 to Arsenal. That was an error. You talk about the Wenger days. Our style is poor as well. It's terrible. Watching the games is actually a chore. It's difficult for me to come and watch Match of the Day when people like Bruno are lighting up the Premier League, and even Pogba's coming in with the assists. Son is obviously tearing up for Tottenham as well. It's really difficult because I don't see us playing direct or in a way that's entertaining. What really spells out, what is symptomatic of this club's decline is that we started crossing after a player like Giroud left. That makes no sense. It makes zero sense. why I really want to make this video is because I think, I don't really want to be someone that engages in clickbait, but I do think that Arsenal, just like Nottingham Forest, just like a few of these other, people that have been in the pantheon of greats, Nottingham Forest won 2 European Cups. I think we're in real danger here of sliding very fast. Right now our commercial viability is only leveraged by the fact that we've got an enormous amount of fans that were young and witnessed the Henrys, the Wrights, the Bergkamps. Right now, I don't see anyone. My brother supports Arsenal, and it's mostly because I forced him. And to be honest, I regret it every single day. But I don't think, I think it's really short-sighted right now from the board because they're not attracting any new supporters. They're not really taking the future profitability of this club seriously. And I think they somehow think that they can hire, a plethora of yes men and kind of hit and hope and see, throw as many darts as you can on a dartboard and one of them will stick. What's happening right now, if we go from the board, there's myths. The board, everyone says the board doesn't spend money. That's absolute rubbish. I think actually the board do spend money. I think the real distinction is that they spend their money poorly. Arsenal have an amazing amount of money. We paid Ozil 350k. We paid Aubameyang 350k. We've just got the wrong personnel. We've got the distribution of wrong personnel. We just spent 50 million on Ben White. I think how many centre backs have we signed over the last kind of 5 or so years? I don't know about this homegrown quota and everything coming into play. Ben White looked pretty much out of his depth. For someone that you wanted good in there, he hasn't fit that profile very well. And it's obviously going to be difficult to attract those players with no Champions League football. But the fact that we don't have anyone leading this club or telling them that some of these signings aren't the profile of where we want to be. Look, we spent, in this transfer window alone, we're about to spend 28 million on another much maligned player, Aaron Ramsdale, who no one wants, by the way. We previously before, we're like a club that's so poorly run. We put feelers out there. I.e., last week, all the reports came that we'd sign Aaron Ramsdale, and every Arsenal fan completely rejected the notion and idea. We sold Emi Martinez, a homegrown keeper who you've seen him in the Copa America, you've seen him for Aston Villa. Quite possibly right now, on current form, the best goalkeeper in the world. Controversial take, but the best goalkeeper in the world. Homegrown, sold him. And now we're going to sign another homegrown player for more money who's not even guaranteed a sure thing. Championship level quality. We spent 100 million in this transfer window. 100 million. Ben White, 50 million. Sambi, 15 million. Tavares, 8 million. Now 28 million on Ramsdale. We spent 100 million, and I would say we're nowhere closer to where we want to be. I do not think we've improved our squad at all. 100 million, and you've still got so many gaping gaps that you can't even begin to imagine how poor this club is run. Look, the board don't really know how to appoint people. They're appointing people with, Edu. Honestly, the amount of poor decisions these guys are making me wonder whether we're like a front for money laundering at the moment, because, people can't consistently make these terrible decisions non-stop. To do the same thing we did with Ozil, with Aubameyang, to let players consistently run down contracts. Liverpool, prime example, they've not signed anyone. They've not signed anyone this window. Do you know what they've done? They've signed up their best 5 players on long-term contracts. That's 5 new signings. 5 new signings that they know do well in their club. Obviously, they've got great football, they've got Champions League football, but they have a cohesive vision and a plan. What we have is panic. All of our decisions are made of panic. Now I've heard that we're scrambling to get Maddison or Ødegaard, probably going to end up with Ødegaard. Panic. What did Ødegaard do? Ødegaard had a 6-month audition here. He had a 6-month audition here. We finished 8th. Yeah? I'm not saying Ødegaard isn't a great player. Maybe he doesn't fit in our system. Maybe we don't know how to use him. Maybe Arteta is poor. We finished 8th. I can't even remember how many goals and assists he got. It wasn't many. Yeah, I could probably count them on this hand. Maddison, proven player. 22, resaleability. Will we make the correct decisions there? I don't think we will. I think we'll end up going for Ødegaard because of the 30 million valuation. Because he's potentially a big name, comes from Real Madrid. It's not good enough for Real Madrid. I don't know, the ambition for this club should be is not good enough for us. When Arsene Wenger joined, history here, when Arsene Wenger joined this club, we were the 2nd most decorated club in English football. 2nd. You know where we are now? We're 3rd, behind Man U and Liverpool. You can't legislate for someone like Alex Ferguson, the greatest manager of all time, managing that Premier League club. But we're soon to be left behind by the likes of City and Chelsea. Soon to be left behind. We are a great club. We have no God-given right to win. Don't want to bitch on. We are a great club in the history of this country. We are the 3rd biggest club that's played this game, and now we're acting like a mid-table team. We're acting like a mid-table team because we have people that don't understand. We have people that don't understand how to spend money, don't understand how to run a football club. Right now, you got to someone like Antonio Conte is available, right? Antonio Conte is available, and this is why I keep saying, for me, I was a Wenger out for at least the last maybe 6-7 years of his tenure, and it's because anyone with any sort of foresight could see that he wasn't operating at the level that he needed to, and he was way past the point. And actually, the reason we are at this point is because managers like Guardiola, managers like Klopp, managers like Pochettino, they passed us by because of his insistence to stay at the club and recapture his former glory, which he never did. He left finishing 5th 2 seasons in a row. Since then, it's gone steadily worse. Right now, we can only hire yes men. We can only hire people that feel gratefulness. Gratefulness of given the opportunity to manage the 3rd most decorated club in English football. You can't go to a Conte, you can't go to an Antonio Conte and say, can you please come and manage this club? He looks at that club and thinks, I can't do anything with that team right now. I'm going to finish 8th or 9th. I'm going to finish 8th or 9th, and I don't want that on my CV. I need 300 million. Give me 300 million and let's spend it properly. Once, on players like Maddison, who's 22, will have resaleability if he does well at the World Cups next year, and we don't do that. Why don't we do that? Because we want yes men. We want people like Emery. We want people like Ljungberg. We want people like Arteta. People that are happy to operate within the confines of a terrible board, happy to be getting behind monikers, marketing monikers, happy to get behind season ticket promotions every year. Same thing this year. We're going to clear out all the deadwood. Be excited. I'm not excited about anything. I'm excited about absolute F all with this team, with this farcical behaviour, with the excuse-driven culture, top to bottom. The board, no clue. Arteta, no clue. The players treat this like a retirement home. You look at someone like Will and someone like David Luiz. David Luiz, I heard this, this narrative, this rhetoric around him. He's great in the dressing room. What do you mean he's great in the dressing room? Finished 8th 2 seasons in a row. How is that instilling a winning mentality in the team? How is that instilling any sort of winning mentality in a team to finish 8th 2 seasons in a row? Rewarded with another contract, an extension last year. Now he's left. Now we've got Will for another 2 years. Top to bottom, the culture of the club needs to change. How do you change a culture? I don't really know the answer to that question because it becomes so ingrained and so embedded into a team that it almost becomes difficult to escape. It's almost like a toxic relationship. You go through the motions. You're both sitting on a sofa every night watching TV in separate rooms, and no one really wants to make the first move because it's a very difficult conversation to have internally with yourself. Arsenal need to have that conversation internally. The owners need to have that conversation. Arteta needs to have that conversation. I don't know. Arteta, he's never going to resign. He's going to keep hiding behind this narrative that it's okay to cross when we don't have a player in that profile. The board are going to be happy to continue to act like signing a centre-back when we have needed a creative midfielder for about 3 seasons. They're going to act like it's acceptable. The only people that can hold them to account are the fans. The only thing that can really change this, or really change anything moving forward, is some sort of, boycott. The only way you really change something, right? Because right now, what's happening is, like I said, leveraging the existing fan base, which is obviously large, Henry, Vieira, Bergkamp, they're the reason Arsenal have money in the coffers right now. They're the reason, Arsene Wenger as well, as much as I, don't agree with the end of his tenure, these are the reasons we are currently still profitable. Currently still invited to places like the European Super League, which, in hindsight, Arsenal fans, I don't agree with the concept of the European Super League, but you're getting a guaranteed seat at the table, which you don't deserve, which we don't deserve. Arsenal Football Club need to have an internal conversation about where they go in the future. Where do they go? I don't know. For me, relegation is a possibility. It's a possibility because it's happened to teams before. If Leicester can win the league, Arsenal can get relegated. It's not doom or gloom. It's a slow, steady slide. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. But with the way it's going, will it happen in 2-3 years' time as other clubs have foreign investment, have owners that that are going to start to have more cohesive plans? Could it happen? I think it could. Especially with the attitude of our players. With the attitude. That's the key word, attitude. Sitting on 150k a week and not able to even sometimes come and clap your own fans away. In my previous video, I predicted Brentford would win. It's a pretty easy prediction. Brentford coming in really hyped up, have the attitude, have the desire, have the work ethic. I just don't see what difference it makes Aubameyang, Lacazette, all of those guys. They're on so much money that coming in and playing, I don't think it's the biggest time of their week. That's why I think a player like Maddison, a boyhood supporter, that's the only thing we can really leverage at the moment, is give big money offers to people that actually supported Arsenal as children, world class, and can try and come in and make a change of this situation. Because no one is really grabbing the situation by the horns. You know, if it was me, you know, personally, you know, I think the only way to enact change is to hurt the bottom line, a bottom line that's supported by, you know, the previous victories that this club has had. The only way to hurt the bottom line is to stop going to games. It's to stop buying the merchandise, stop buying the t-shirt, and to stop engaging whatsoever. The only thing worse than hate is indifference, and I'm starting to reach a point of indifference with this club. Arsenal are your disgraces of the week, and that's what Buck says for this week.